Welcome everyone to the Flood31 Gaming Podcast, the very first one of 2022. I can't believe it's already 2022, and at the time of the recording this, it's halfway through January already. So I wanted to bring back a very special guest, a dear friend of mine who I love and respect very, very much, my old pal Mark. Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Hello, what an intro. I love and
Yeah.
respect you too, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've been practicing that intro like all day, knowing that we're doing the podcast this evening. So I was like, I mustn't get it wrong. So I wanted to bring you back as the first one of the year, because you were the guest on the very first podcast we ever did, which is the big. I think we discussed Warhammer. Is that right?
I think we discussed a
Oh.
lot. We spent a lot of time discussing Warcraft, as far as I remember.
Sorry, so Warhammer, yeah, Warcraft. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, we discussed like all our favorite
shifted
stuff.
your,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
Warhammer on the brain.
I played today against Ben, and I actually won a game, which is
Wow.
sure. Yeah, I know. I came home and went, oh, wife, guess what? I won a game. She's like, oh my god. I was like, oh no, I'm as surprised as you are. So
Amazing. Well, congratulations on the
well,
win.
thanks. It's a hobby I picked up because of lockdown.
I must ask, is Ben okay? Is Ben poorly? Was he?
I tell you what, everyone that plays like Warhammer in our little circles always joking about how loaded Ben's dice is. You know, the guy when he needs a 5 or a 6, he pulls out a 5 or a 6. You know what I mean? Like it's like, really, Ben? But today he was dreadful. My rolls were better than average for how I play. But yeah, Ben was shocking. But he won. We played a second game because the first game we did like a story campaign, and he won the first. So I won the first game because he failed to do the objectives. But the second game, I started off really, really well, but then he decided to step up his game and win. So, but I still won the first game of the year, and I'm taking it. No one can take that away from me. So, but welcome back
I'm really
to
pleased for you.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate. I appreciate it. One day you can watch me, because I've got Mr. Pink into it, and you know he loves that stuff. So, but welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you taking time out of your. Well, you're a busy man, both family life and work life. You're a very busy man, and I appreciate you having the time to come on. But so like I said before, I wanted to discuss your 2022 plans for gaming. Stuff like games that you're currently playing, whether it be on a Switch, PC, even a mobile phone. Games you're looking forward to. And anything that you want to accomplish in the world of gaming in 2002, the limited time that you have, basically.
Yeah. Well, we've all got to set those goals, right?
I started off this year. I was like, right, I'm going to do this, and I say it every year because obviously gaming is my passion. I love it. I know you love a bit of gaming too, and I just couldn't. Like last year, my plans didn't get. I said to myself, right, I'm going to reinstall all the Resident Evil games. I can play them. I'm going to get as many achievements as I can, and blah 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 blah. And I think I completed Resident Evil 0 because I started from the beginning. From the timeline.
Chronologically,
yeah, and then completed Resident Evil 0. I went, right, okay, cool. I'm gonna play some Star Wars now, and it just it just fell apart. And I think I did Resident Evil 0 in like all of January, most of February, and that was it. I just stopped. So this year I decided to be a bit more 90s and go back to my roots and install the Sonic games, which we discussed off camera, so to speak, and how poor my reactions are because I'm getting old. So and I'm so fighting games and Sonic games is my 2022 plan, but we'll discuss that later on. But I want to obviously let you know. Obviously, I want you to discuss what you're currently playing, what you're looking forward to playing, and any other games that you've got on your backlog that you've got your eye on, but haven't got the time to sit down and play because you are a very, very busy man.
Well, yeah, I think so. Well, let's start with what I'm currently playing, I suppose. I've just finished a 10-day self-isolation period because I managed to get the Rona on New Year.
Yes, unfortunately.
So actually, that 10 days gave me a bit of space, if you like, to get some games played, basically. I played a few different ones, which I'm happy to talk about, but the one that I loved and completed again from start to finish was Doom, the 2016 kind of remake.
The reboot.
Which
Yes.
I think is. Have you played it?
So I haven't done. It's always been one of those games that you see on, like, because I obviously, as you know, I'm a scummy console gamer. And I always see, like, I also saw two games on the those sales you get on the Xbox Live. It was Doom and Mortal Kombat. And
Hmm.
at Christmas, I decided to take the plunge and get Mortal Kombat because, obviously, fighting games and stuff. Knowing my plans for 2022.
Hmm.
So Doom is a game I've always wanted to play, but never got a chance to purchase it to play it. But I've
I
been
think
told by many
for
people it's
me,
so good.
it's so good. I think this is probably my third time playing it through over the course of about 5 years or something. Do you know what I mean? It's not the first time, but it's not something I play very regularly. But as soon as I pick it up, it's one of those, like, I can't wait to pick it up as soon as I've put it down. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
running through that again was really fun. I think for me, it encompasses everything that's cool and fun about first person shooters. It reminds me of the type of first person shooter I loved as a kid. And so, although it's not, it was not new out, running through it again was so fun that I just had to do it. And the problem is, I've got, probably like you and every other person who identifies as a bit of a gamer, I've got about 1 billion games in my backlog
yep.
to play.
Yep.
And yet here I am playing Doom again, which I think says a lot about the type of game that it is, the quality of the game. But aside from that, I was also playing a game called The Long Dark, and I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but it's quite an interesting one. It's a bit like, it's very slow paced, but essentially it's about kind of a survival story where a plane crashes in the Canadian woods and you have to basically survive the cold nights. So it's got this kind of Minecraft survival mode feel about it, where
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
chopping trees down and starting fires and stuff. But I get bored of that stuff quite quickly because it's kind of the opposite of the Doom world, if you know what I mean. It's very slow. You have to think about things and you have to plan. And
Yeah, the game's
I just
very
want to,
meaningful, whereas you have to plan, like,
yeah,
I need some trees today, whereas Doom's like, gat, kick, slash, job done.
100%. And I think that kind of, you say I'm a busy man. I suppose that things have changed for me in the last couple of years. I've had a kid and stuff, and so my gaming time becomes these really short, sharp bursts of, I might get an evening, one evening a week maybe, to play games for 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I get 2 hours every night, or 2, 3, 4, 5 hours every night like I used to. So that priority changes, and for me, I don't want to sit there and take my time and be thoughtful. I do just want to get and kick demons in the head.
Yeah, because,
So
like I say, I see you, obviously, obviously you're quite high up in the education chain, and obviously the wee boy who's the cutest thing ever. Obviously, you got a wife as well, and they need attention sometimes, that sort of thing. But, like,
yeah,
it's obviously, it's a far cry from back in the day where we used to spend 16 hours a day playing, World of Warcraft,
yeah,
doing dungeons and raids and stuff. Because
yeah,
even
yeah.
now, I don't have any kids yet, but, like, even now, like, I've got other adult things that I need to do, and
Mm,
I have a bit more free time than you in terms of, obviously being a full-time dad and whatever, but it's still like, I must do this, and it's like, I must sit down and play games. Oh, the wife will be home in an hour. I best get dinner
yeah,
on, sort of thing. So it's kind of
yeah.
like, even
It's
someone who doesn't have kids, like, you sort of like, not go out gaming, but, like, you prioritize a little bit more. But when you do play games, it's like,
yeah,
yes, this is brilliant. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
and playing games once a week, for example, it makes the game itself a bit more special. Even if you're playing, like, for me, Sonic 1,
Mm,
1991, and I replay it, I think, I love this game, and it's still special to me because I've got that that once or twice a week that I can play the games for X amount of time, and
yeah.
it's special. But tell me about Doom. Like, what sort of mechanics is it? Is it like a generic first person? Is it story driven? Do you get unlockables? Can you buy stuff? What's the deal with it?
Um, yeah. So there is a story, but it's basically meaningless. It's very kind of uh there's no depth to the story whatsoever, because let's face it, I'm not playing Doom for the story, and I don't think anyone else is either. But there is a story there, and the way the what I love about it is that the environment is just so cool. I love the aesthetic of how it looks. I love the sound. I love the soundtrack. I love that. But you basically, it's kind of you kind of chop and maim your way through it in your own way. You never have to. What the other thing that I love about it, you never have to reload. You never have to worry about ammo. You basically never have to worry about dying, because it just focuses on the fun stuff. If that makes sense.
The dream, basically. The dream.
Yeah. So, and that's what I mean. It reminds me of playing like something like Quake as a kid, where it was more about jumping around and doing fun things than it was about kind of progressing through a story and, you know, conserving my ammo.
Like rocket jumping and stuff like that.
Yeah, rocket jumping, strafe jumping, you know, getting some finisher move on some big demon, using a chainsaw to chop a demon's head off, all that sort of stuff. Just like pure bliss.
Because like reloading used to be, it's such a habit of mine. Like when I back in our COD days, you know, I'll have like an LMG with like, you know, 70 bullets in it, and you shoot 3 bullets to kill someone, and hardcore mode, I must reload.
Yeah,
knowing that I've got another, you know, 60 odd bullets to shoot other people with, but it's the habit of like having to reload.
I'm with you. For me, that habit doesn't actually go away with Doom. So I find myself pressing R to reload, and I'm like, well, nothing's happening.
Yeah, there's no reload button. I need to, which is good because the worst thing is when you you know, 60 bullets in the chamber, you fire 3, kill someone, hide in the corner. As you're reloading, some guy walks in with a pistol, bang, 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 and then you got 15 seconds spawn time, and you're like, I should never reload. But you always do it, no matter what. You've got like a massive like, you know, rail gun or a small like, you know, pea shooter. You still push the reload button every single time. So having a first person game where you have to reload, it just sounds like bliss to me.
Yeah, it's really good. I fully recommend it. I mean, that is maybe the thing that I'm going to recommend to you the most, is give Doom a go. That'd be my recommendation to you, even though it came out in 2016.
It's definitely on my radar, 100%. But I mean, I recommend to you then, you play Fortnite.
I actually have it installed now, because I've obviously got my computer up to date over for the lockdown period. I think I must have installed about 8 terabytes worth of games, and Fortnite was one of those.
Oh, good lad.
I'd be pleased to know. So
it's one of those games where like the game in me is like, it's a fun game, you can pick up, you can play it, it's cartoony, it's fun. But like when you really look into it, like Epic, who do like all the obviously owns the game stuff, when they release like a patch for it, it's never wrong. Like there's never any issues. There's no bugginess. There's no glitches. It's just a patch comes out, new stuff comes in. I mean, you know, very rarely they'll disable a gun for a couple of days to if there was an issue, but it's never. There's always other guns you can use for the time being. It's never like
that,
you know,
that quality is just there, isn't it?
Yeah, so the stuff like, you know, the current issues with like Battlefield 2042. And it's just like, it's dreadful. I've sat there with and played, you know, Fortnite with my nephew, with my wife, with, you know, my friends, and I've never had an issue with the game. Obviously lag here and there, but any online game would have a bit of lag regardless. And it's just a fun game to play. So I recommend you sitting down and having, you know, a good session with it, obviously when you have your spare time.
I will. I promise you, I'll give it a go. How about that?
Play with me. You just tell me when you're available, and we'll hook up and we'll play and get Jack and John involved and have a team of 4. And it's a good laugh because it's all bants. It's just a lot of grown men run around throwing like, you know, fireflies at each other. And in the game of obviously, if you catch fireflies in a jar, you throw it's like a incendiary grenade. So if someone built a wooden fort, you can just chuck some fireflies at them and it just sets more fire. So it's fun. It's a fun game. We're all dressed as Spider-Man. We're all doing funny dances.
If it's fun, I can get behind it. How about
It's a fun. Is there any so apart from Doom, which is obviously in your library, is there any games in your library that you've started briefly or installed because you bought it on sale, whatever, and gone and just haven't played it?
Do you know what? The one that leaps out at me that I've wanted to play but haven't, and I don't know why I haven't, is and again it's years old, so I'm not talking anything new here. It's Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Have you played that?
Oh, I have it. I think it was one of the Games with Gold games.
Yeah. I think I must have got it free at some point.
Yeah, because it's not a game I mean, Metal Gear Solid 1 was great. Then 2 was the bait and switch. I was like, I lost interest after that.
Yeah.
Obviously, for those that don't know the base switch is basically the game was based around Snake, and then like 2 seconds into the game it changes character. It's like, oh no, and not many people liked the character who took over Raiden. I think Raiden. Kind of because I got it, I hired it from a video shop. That's how old I am.
Yeah, nice.
And I completed it. I did complete it in the whole weekend that I got it, but it's like, oh, that's not. It's like picking up Sonic and then him disappearing the first, and you're stuck with Tails for the rest of the game. And I know you can play like some sort of games as Tails only, but that's your choice to do so. And it wasn't forced upon you, sort of thing. So, but yeah, I've got Phantom Pain, but I've never installed it. I just clicked on purchase because it's free, but I've heard it's good. But it's just one of those games that takes so long to complete, and I haven't got the time to do so.
Yeah, I think that's my issue with it. It's not very sort of. I can't just jump into it. I can't just jump in and then leave.
Because if you spend like a week off and then obviously you play there like 2 weeks later, you think, oh, what's the controls? What was I doing? Why am I standing here? Like that sort of thing. I recently installed and tried to play Witcher 3. And I've stopped because it's like in between story missions, you get obviously contracts to hunt down bandits and mythical beasts like griffins and stuff. But and you've got to really plan for it and go hunting for all the plants to make potions to make them weaker and you stronger. And just and it takes so long to grind out levels and stuff. I think I've been playing it solid for I think I started between Christmas and New Year, so about 3.5 weeks I've been playing it, and I got to like level 7, and it's like I think level 30 is the top. So I can't do it. I haven't got the time to play.
Do you know what that sounds like you're describing? If you didn't say The Witcher, do you know what it sounds like you're describing?
World of Warcraft?
No, any of the bloody Skyrim rubbish Morrowind.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it sounds
is one of the best games ever made, and I beg you to be quiet. Skyrim is another game. I got the free update to the Series X version that came out in November. Installed it again. As much as I love Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim, it's just time. I haven't got time to sit there and play the game for 40 plus hours. When a game like Fortnite, for example, lasts 20 minutes. You can have one game, put your pad down, and go cook the dinner for the wife. So that sort of stuff. But is a Phantom Pain like a game you're gonna play, or is it just one of the games you're just gonna look at for rest of your life? Because I think for me, it's gonna be one of those games that I'm gonna own but never play.
I think it might be one that I just look at the desktop shortcut every now and again and think,
I must play that.
Yeah, I must play that.
And then that's never do. But what about games that you're looking forward to this year? Is there anything like? Because I heard rumors that there's the rumor was straight away, which I still think is going to be a rumor because it happens every year, that they finally got Xbox have like the rights to release GoldenEye on Xbox. Apparently it's just going to be a complete port. They'll change the controls, so obviously because the N64 pad had one control stick and the C buttons to strafe, and obviously now got 2 joysticks. They'll make modifications on that, but like what they did with the the remaster of like Perfect Dark, it worked perfectly fine. And if the rumor is true and they're going to port it across, apparently it has Xbox Live support as well, so you can play your 4-player, pistols only, license to kill in the library with your mates. With your mates, that's the rumor.
If that happens, I'm buying an Xbox. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there is an achievements list that's been announced. I'll send to you after the podcast. So you can take a look at it. But it looks a bit too a bit too easy in terms of like getting the achievements. It doesn't look like anyone's put any creative effort into it. So it happens every year, but this year it took a bit of traction. And if they do announce it, then I will, you tell me not to pre-order games, but I think I'll pre-order this one. So you always like, no pre-orders, what are you doing?
I'd love it if they did a full port, but kept the graphics the same.
Well, that's the rumor. It's going to be a complete port of the game from 1995.
Not remastering or reworking any of the graphics.
Apparently, even though like the Perfect Dark got like a graphical update, it kept the game as it was. All the glitches and stuff, and all of the really bad voice acting, especially from Elvis the Alien, like Joanna, Yoda ripoff. Apparently, they're just going to port the game as it is and no changes. But it doesn't seem like if they can do it for Perfect Dark, they should do it for GoldenEye. But that's the rumor. So if that is the case,
it would be incredible to see.
Yeah, if that is the case, it's going to cause a massive storm, and esports be worth watching. But other than this fake GoldenEye game that's going to come out, there is a new open world Sonic game out at the end of this year. I think it's called Sonic Frontiers, and I'm looking forward to that.
Sonic game.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's what I thought. I was like, what? It kind of looks like a bit like Breath of the Wild in terms of like not the graphics, but like the area, like all the woods and forest and mountains and stuff. But it's only a video of Sonic running through, a pre-rendered video of Sonic running through all these levels and stuff, and then going, Sonic Frontiers 2022. But apparently it's gonna be out in the holidays this year, so Christmas time, which would be good because I love a Sonic game, which really kickstarted me into going, I must play those Sonic games. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most, and also the year 2 of Hitman 3 content, where they got a new mode now where you have to do contracts to upgrade your home base with money and stuff. And it's got a cool like, they called it, I think they said it was like a roguelike stuff where if you have a gun, because when you play Hitman, you choose your loadout, go into the level, you can quit and restart and then whatever. But if you go into a level and you drop a gun and change it for another gun, that gun you've purchased is lost forever. You got to buy it back again. So it's kind of like got to be a bit more thoughtful on your inventory and what you take and what you lose and stuff. So those are
I don't mind the idea of that. I think that sounds quite cool. It's quite a nice way of doing the whole roguelike thing in Hitman.
Yeah, because it's definitely, because like Hitman, I can just once I unlock a gun, I can just drop my red pistol and then start another level and have it again. But this one, I like the idea of having an upgradable home base with like swimming pools and pool tables and guns and stuff. I see it's all aesthetically pleasing and stuff, but the guns and stuff, the equipment is like what I'm looking forward to the most. So those are the 3 things. Like if the GoldenEye thing happens, great, pre-order. The Sonic thing, I'll probably pre-order that as well. You know what I'm like. But the Hitman 2 update is completely free for people that own Hitman 3. That starts on the 20th. But the roguelike game comes out, I think, March, April time. So I'm looking forward to that. There's the 3 things I'm like, yes, I must play.
And is the roguelike thing is that going to be a separate game? Is that going to be like a separate purchase?
No. It's all anyone that owns the game. It's a free update.
Okay. Lovely.
Because it uses the existing levels, but the targets change. So you're not if you go into like the Argentina level, which is like a winery, you're not guaranteed to have the same target, and each target will have different, like you must eliminate them this way with this outfit, sort of thing. It's like a it's just like it's all randomized, and you have to knife someone rather than shoot them, for example, and then you get more points. So it's something I'm looking forward to. It's something I can grind out with playtime, because Hitman is so funny. I recommend you play it. Oh my days, it's hilarious.
We've spoken about Hitman a lot in the past, and I think off mic, I suppose, obviously, and I think I'm still of the same mindset that Hitman, I love it. I love the game. I love the idea. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really well done. I don't think there's any other game that comes close in the genre. But for me personally, it's the type of game I love to watch be played rather than play it myself. I love to watch you play Hitman because I love someone playing it well. I love to watch someone playing it well because I think that it's so interesting to see how they approach a problem. Basically, it's quite interesting to watch them play it out, and like the more creative they are, it's like watching creativity flow. That's maybe a bit of an overkill, but it's that you watch someone who's good at it. It's really satisfying for the person watching it as well as the person playing.
Yeah, because the thing about the Hitman games, which interests me more for the reboots for the 2016 onwards, was the fact that it was so sandbox. It was unbelievable, right? I mean, the old Hitman games normally had like 1 or 2 ways where you can sneak this way and never get caught, blah blah blah. But the Hitman 2016 onwards, and especially Hitman 3, where you can, because I own the other 2 games, I can play all the levels and upgrades, still unlock stuff from those games in Hitman 3 and stuff. So I can go. You walk, like my favorite one is the Italian map. Sapienza, obviously it's a fake place, and it's little things where you'll see like an NPC walking, and she's looking at her phone. She's like, "Oh, I must do 5 more steps to hatch my egg." It doesn't reference Pokemon per se, but you know what they're playing because that's when it was released. That was hot. But like, and it's little details of everyone has something to do, and there's about 50 different ways you can sneak into a place, 90 different ways to kill them. That sort of thing, and it's just so like. If I play a level, I can play it. It never gets boring because there's so many different things to do, and they're all funny. I can walk in and just grenade the whole place, or I can do it sneaky and take out the target with poison or whatever, or a sniper rifle. When it's just so much fun. So I always recommend to you, and especially obviously Mr. Pink in our little group chat, to play Hitman.
Yeah.
It's so good, so funny. And I know it's not meant to be funny, but it is. And that's the thing where like it gets to the point where sometimes I have to pause the game because I'm like, wow, guff, because I've done something I've planned. I'll do that, and then something happens, and it as a chain reaction, and it's just the way they have the funny physics when you knock somebody out, they just flop down, and you can just chuck them over banisters, and I'm laughing just thinking about it now. So Hitman, looking forward to the DLC, the Sonic 1 obviously when it comes out, and GoldenEye. But tell me more.
I look forward to I look forward to watching you play Hitman.
Well, I mean, when I get it, you have to come around for a few drinks and maybe a dinner, and we'll play together. So
definitely.
But tell me more about any sort of games that you're looking forward to.
Yes,
I also have a personal question. Do you still play Heroes of the Storm?
Yes. Do you know what I do? I played it quite a bit when I was off with the Rona.
The Rona.
Yeah, I do, but it's kind of, I don't want to call it a dead in the water, but updates are so few and far between. I think there was the newest hero that was released was Hogger, maybe. That was a year ago.
Oh, yeah, because I remember watching the video for Hogger, but then
I
thought to myself, I did the whole like, I must play that game again, and I never did because turns out Blizzard are horrible people.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real shame because actually, I think had it been marketed differently and released probably 3 years before it was, I think it would probably be the most popular MOBA today. But obviously we have League of Legends, and that's the most popular. But yeah, I think it's a shame. I did play it for a bit when I was off, and I still enjoyed it. I still found it fun, but losing sucks.
And it's nowhere near as fun as it used to be when we had me, you, Pink, and Todd online playing
and also I think you mentioned reaction times earlier. Reaction times come into it in a big way, and I don't have that mechanical skill to beat my opposition sometimes. I think that's why I don't play FPS very much online anymore, because I feel like a potato in comparison. So yeah, that's a reason why I don't necessarily enjoy Heroes of the Storm that much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Reyna was the best character. We all know that. And I actually started to I started to lose interest in the game when they changed Sylvanas, because I really enjoyed her as like a support character to nullify like the defenses and stuff. But then they changed it to make her a bit more of an assassin with the the black arrow they call it as a trait, and it's just like oh really, it was fun because she was very, very squishy, but she could really like neutralize all the mercenaries and all the minions and stuff, and it was just she was a good character. They didn't need to change her, but that's what I thought to myself, because she was one of my characters that I liked being, as well as the Tychus. It's about time. So
it's about damn time.
So yeah, but is there any other games you were looking forward to playing or
so looking forward to? So I had a quick look at a release calendar before we started talking, and I saw that there's a new Breath of the Wild game, which, I mean, the first Breath of the Wild game I think is probably the best game I've ever played. Which is a big claim. I think we talked about this first time I spoke to you on the podcast, actually. So, new Breath of the Wild game, hype for that. And I'm also quite excited for the Lego Star Wars Anakin game.
Oh, the Skywalker Saga.
Yeah.
Yes, I am looking forward to it as well, because that is the complete game. But I didn't put it on my list of games I'm looking forward to because it's been delayed twice already. And I just had this feeling it's gonna be delayed again. If it's
So
not,
we
then
might be talking about it this time next year then.
well, yeah, well, if it's not, if it comes out this year, I'll be very happy and I'll happily give my money because Lego games are just fun, especially
Yeah.
when there's games like Marvel and Star Wars because they're just characters that you love. And you can be like Newt Gunray,
Yeah.
who you could never be really in a normal Star Wars game anyway. So it's fun just to be those characters. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. But what Breath of the Wild 2 sounds like a money maker for Nintendo. I definitely want to play the first one because I started it, but I got annoyed with the whole weapon breaking. But then I realized you have to really pick and choose your battles. You can't just rush into the goblin camp and kill them all every single time because you're gonna run out of weapons and you end up with like
Yeah.
a Bocco club or what it's called. You're like, oh, oh, and then you accidentally throw it like, oh no, I just throw my weapon. So I must get back on that.
Yeah, I recommend. It's good. It's fun.
And what about any sort of multiplayer games? I know we mentioned before about I stopped playing Call of Duty and stuff because although Fortnite's good because it's a bit slower, but for Call of Duty and stuff I stopped playing them because one they're quite samey, and two just the reactions like I said off camera. I reinstalled Tekken because my other plan is to get back into my fighting games, and I just the reactions are shot. I can't do what I used to do. And that's why stuff like even on a 90s Sonic game, there are parts where I die or get hit where I never used to because I know the levels inside out like the back of my hand, but
Yeah.
my reactions just seem to slower because obviously I'm gonna be 39 in 6 months time, pushing 40, and it's just like everything's slowing down.
Yeah.
But games are getting faster, and that's my problem.
Yeah,
So
you need to learn to love like really slow turn-based strategy games.
well, I mean, yeah, I bought a little while ago Phoenix Point, which is kind of like a spiritual successor of XCOM. It's the
Oh
same,
yeah.
yeah, it's really, really, really good because it's really got a cool mechanic where if you keep taking the same team with the same weapons, you keep attacking the same like enemies, because they're bioorganic, they adapt. So if you keep shooting someone with an energy weapon, eventually they'll you go into a mission and that same enemy will start growing a carapace that is resistant to energy weapons, for example.
Mm.
And you got to change your tactics. So it's always worth taking like a varied team in to keep the
Keep the
guys
enemies
from
guessing.
evolving. Because if you take in
Yeah.
varied weapons and keep varying your targets, they won't evolve as fast. But if you keep blowing them up with flame weapons, for example, then they'll just be resistant to flame, and your whole team's like ah. So it's
I
quite a cool
see.
mechanic, but it's also hard because sometimes you want to stick to that team that works for you, but it forces you to change. But there's also another um, it's an RTS game. It was it's a Warhammer one called Battle Sector, and it's based on the Blood Angels, which is the team I used for Warhammer. And that's the same sort of thing where you have to move your units and act and do spells and stuff. So it's I play those games mainly now because again their actions are shot. um, yeah, but
Maybe that's your goal for 2022 is to get your action time, especially when it comes to like fighting games, Sonic games,
well,
back up again.
that's why I've reinstalled because I want to play them, get back to my roots and pick up a Tekken and play online and be able to win games without having to go, what is the grab button again? That sort of thing. That's my personal gaming quest for this year. Do you have any personal like missions or accomplishments you wanna do?
Oh, you've put me on the spot. Do I? I think play more. I think if we're talking general, I think play more games with friends, and try and get some Monday nights in with you guys because I think my I don't really have any sort of schedule set in. I don't really have any sort of don't really have any sort of times that I lock in for gaming. It just seems to be as and when. So maybe locking in a few Monday nights with you guys to
Yeah. Well,
play
we
together.
actually changed it to Tuesdays now, which if that helps you.
Oh, well,
um,
yeah. I mean,
it,
let's lock in some Tuesdays then.
yeah, because we meet online about 6:30, 7:15, play to about 9ish. So it's only about hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Um, but it's just so much fun. We get so many games in because we're either godly or god awful. But we always play. It's me, John, and Jack. We always play like a trios on Fortnite. So if you want to be our fourth man, please come in and do so. We do have some people that sometimes Samantha plays, or a friend Bodino, he plays as our fourth. But if you're up for playing on a Tuesday, you just let me know. Jump online, whether it be a PC, a Switch, whatever, because crossplay works. And then we'll play. So
excellent. Well, I will. That's my goal for gaming, is to play more with friends, because that's something I've missed.
I also want to wrap this up, but I got a text from Matt today, right? And Matt said to me, for people listening, Matt's my brother. He got the Rona over Christmas and wasn't able to partake in Christmas, which is a shame. Also, his girlfriend's birthday wasn't Christmas Eve, and he couldn't celebrate with her, which is obviously a bigger shame. But he recently got back into World of Warcraft because he obviously had nothing else to do. There's only so many films you can watch. So he's playing World of Warcraft, and he texted me today. He went, "What is?" This is obviously a question for you personally, because no one else is going to know what we're talking about. He said, "What is my best character, Carmen or Yasmi?" And I said to him, Yasmi, because she does everything. She can heal, she can melee, she can range, she can magic, she can revive, that sort of stuff. Whereas Carmen's just a hunter. It's just damage, isn't it? Pure damage. And he said, "Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yasmi is probably the best one." But I want to ask myself, because I'm having the podcast with Mark, and Mark knows both characters quite well. What would your opinion be on who's Matt's better character, Carmen or Yasmi?
Okay, let's unpick this a bit then. So when you say better character, are you talking who does Matt play better, or who did I prefer playing with?
Well, that's the thing. He was quite vague on it. He just said who was better, and I said, if you're looking at a gameplay point of view, I said Yasmin, because being a druid, they can change form and do whatever they want. They can fly, they can swim, they can magic, they can, damage, revive.
Yeah, but then I always think those hybrid classes, they've just did a generally okay job at everything, rather than being the best at anything, if you see what I mean. So it's a bit like a jack of all trades. So
yeah, kind of like how awesome paladins were.
On a personal level as well, I think that Matt's main is always Carmen. That anything else is an alt. Yasmi is an alt.
yeah.
I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
So actually, I prefer the hunter any day.
Really?
Yeah.
that is surprising. I thought you could say Yasmin as well.
No, I like Yasmin because she used to keep me alive in a dungeon. But
yes, Talaka, my boy. Yeah. So I said Yasmin just because it wasn't quite forthcoming with him, but he just said, who's the better character, and you'd automatically think a druid would be better than a hunter because they can do everything.
All right, I'll pose the same question to you then.
Okay.
Death Shroud or Talaka?
Death Shroud all day. I love because being the warlock, and obviously the first character I met in Goldshire, oh my god, you got a flame horse. And being, he was your main character. I think it's like level 30 when I started playing. It's like, oh my god, level 30, oh my god. Back then was like 3 weeks worth of grinding, whereas now it's like 30 minutes, something. So I always loved the warlock. I mean, obviously Talak was cool, and he was the main tank for our little guild, and I loved healing you when I was the healer. The very poor healer. I was like, oh, Matt and Pink aren't available. I could do it possibly. Beats Todd Fountain. But yeah, it would always be Death Shroud, because that was your main. Everything else was an alt. Yeah. So with that, obviously, if Matt listens to this, he'll be very happy that you picked Carmen, even though I picked Yasmi. So he's got one apiece. But yeah, I think I'll wrap up saying that 2022 is going to be an interesting year for both of us for personal, professional, and gaming reasons. I'm looking forward to the year unfold. I think we should get you back on in a little while's time for another podcast to see how things are going. So
yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And hope everyone's enjoyed listening to the podcast. And I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Cheers.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.